Well done. Puede haber Pakowski. Centra. And Riga
Welcome to the Latvian Football Podcast, where today, in this episode, we are going to discuss round 3 of the Virsliga.
Yeah, and before I guess we go straight into the game, just the overall remarks that I think I'm going to be saying every time pretty much, but what a season it's shaping up to be. Now each team has got some points, scored a goal, won, lost, and seems quite competitive, so it's going to be interesting. And speaking of that, I guess, going into the first game, Daugavpils versus Supernova. A 3-0 victory for Daugavpils.
Daugavpils have awoken.
Yeah.
They are back, real and proper. For the last 2 episodes, we've been talking about how Daugavpils is just bad. And now they took the time during the national team break, and they have been impressive, I think.
Yeah, the international break has done them a solid, I guess. No players really going away. I guess some youngsters, but yeah, it seems that they really managed to turn around their lack of chemistry, confidence, whatever, and they really, as much as I saw, they really were the better team in the game. Quite a confident win as well.
They were very good. They were aggressive. They were going forward. They had good chemistry, as you said. It was good. They lined up a 5-4-1. Changes from last time include Tsutsurs Hatano and Hasan Zadi out, and in their place Aizups, Želejko, and Tihonovic, who debuted in Virsliga at 17 years of age. And this was also their first home game this season. And actually, it was kind of funny for me. I switched the game on, and in my mind, I thought they're playing in Salaspils at home with Supernova. And then I switched it on, and I was a couple of minutes into it. Then I think oh, wait, Salaspils Stadium looks a little bit different. But then I didn't think much of it until I saw that Daugavpils is written all over the place, and I thought that we really need to get some more different stadiums, because it's a synthetic pitch. It kind of has similar houses in the background. It just looks similar.
Yeah, I agree. The backdrop is, yeah.
So Supernova lined up a 4-4-2. No changes relative to the victorious game last round against Tukums. And, there's might have been no changes in personnel, but they did not look good at all. And I don't know if that's because they didn't think much of Daugavpils like the rest of us, or what, but it was not good. There was a lot of errors in passing, very poor understanding between players, just losing the ball all the time. There was generally, this game kind of had a lot of errors in possession, and teams were kind of kicking the ball around into each other. But Supernova just really struggled to put anything together.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Only 3 games in, but already there are teams that seem to be just up and down from game to game. Supernova started bad, then looked quite confident against Tukums. Now again, this. It's just hard to say whether really Daugavpils got so much better, or Supernova just maybe didn't rate them enough, or whatever the reason was. But yeah, it just didn't look good, I guess. They had some moments, but just Daugavpils overall dominated them.
Absolutely. They looked just really oppressed and kind of almost sad. Yeah, they had a few chances. Rakels had a few interesting chances, but by and large, just nothing really to write home about. Daugavpils, on the other hand, do appear to have gotten better, for sure. So not that just Supernova got worse. Daugavpils did legitimately get better. Lizunovs continues to be dangerous. There was this episode at the beginning of the game where he stole the ball from the defender and went one-on-one with the keeper, ended up passing the ball, and then whoever else was the other person shot wide, I think, or something like that. Happy to see Daugavpils putting something together that's interesting and meaningful. You said previously that the way they're playing currently is not exciting you. Was this more exciting for you?
Definitely, yeah. There were some actual combinations and some actually good looking football. Happy to see them doing better. As you said, Lizunos really does look dangerous. He's probably currently their best player, really looking good. And the moment that you mentioned when he stole the ball off, I think it summarizes Supernova's game. I think it was they were sprinting for the ball, the defender got it, but then he sort of fell over, and that's how Lizunos got the ball. And it's just
Well, he really helped him to fall over, but well within the rules.
Yeah, I guess. And just unfortunately didn't end up as a goal, but later on he got his goal from a corner, and they got their other goals as well. Just I don't know really what more to say. Just happy to see them actually doing good, doing better, and looking like a team who can even challenge the big teams if they play like this.
Well, I wouldn't go as far, I think, just yet, but we'll see how it goes. It was good to see people come to the game as well. I think the stadium was, at least the part that had the roof, that was pretty full, and it was nice. Noteworthy thing that happened that I don't know if there's really anything to make of it, but 37 minutes in, referee had to be substituted. Unclear why, but doesn't happen often, so I guess that might be noteworthy. And, well, I mean, Daugavpils really surprised both of us. Last episode about Virsliga, we predicted, well, you said it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and I thought Supernova is going to win 2-1. Instead, Daugavpils very confidently crushed Supernova 3-0. Very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the substitution of a referee is definitely a very rare sight to see. But yeah, it just happened. A fun fact, but as you said, nothing really to make of it. And yeah, Daugavpils is really looking surprisingly good. Also nice to see that the third goal scorer, Diamanda, the player on loan from RFS, also playing and also getting a goal. And the other goal scorer, Nazirli, also one of the foreign players in Daugavpils who actually did look relatively decent first two games, also scoring. It seems that it's coming together. Of course, it's only one game, but yeah, definitely not the sad look about Daugavpils that we spoke about last time.
Yeah, and the time before that.
Yeah.
So, well done. Very good. Good to see Daugavpils back. Next game was Liepaja hosting Riga. I was very impressed. So Liepaja lined up a 4-2-3-1 versus Riga something like 3-4-2-1. So similar, somewhat inverted formations. After the last game, after winning Valmiera, Tamas Perti of Liepaja made some changes. So Kutsia, Torivio, as well as Kapun and Fyodorovs were on pitch in place of Anana, Minalas, Gilmore, and Tiddenberg. Tiddenberg is injured. The rest were tactical choices. And Riga, of course, cannot play Niang as he picked up a red in the game against RFS. But Soisola, Chernomordis, Karamako are out, and Yurkovskis is back, as well as Dabro, Bosancic, and Musa starting. And I really enjoyed this one. Riga look proper mean. They look like a team that is very much on the next level. In this game, they scored 3 past Liepaja in the first 45. 2 goals came within a minute of each other. And it's not that Liepaja looked bad, I think, but Riga just looked so much better. They played the football that in this round and this season, I think overall, I haven't seen yet. Very combinatorial, fast football on the ground, passing the balls, lots of 1-2s in the middle of the field, fast wingers, dangerous crosses, dangerous central attacks. Just look very confident, very proficient, very skillful, lots of flair. The pass by Yurkovskis that resulted in the first goal by Jojic was a work of art, granted. Liepaja central defense was on a vacation somewhere during those minutes, but still, amazing vision. Just Riga looks like they mean business.
Yeah, unfortunately, I only managed to see the highlights of this game, but I don't think there was even one Liepājas attack in the highlights. I think so. Yeah, maybe one.
In the
but
beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, Mankenda, the right wing
Yeah.
back, was doing some beautiful things in Riga's penalty box. But after that, yeah, not really.
Yeah, Riga did really look as a team that, considering their budget and ambitions, should be looking like, and just very solid, very good, and the players really showing their quality. Jojic, for example, the first goal scorer, very nice goal, got the ball from Yurkovskis, little fake shot, little drop of the shoulder, and nice placement in the right corner. Just very, very good, as you said. Nothing really, not a bad thing to say about Riga. It seems that Stipic really has done the right thing with the players, especially considering their quality. And yeah, it's looking good. Up to this point, I'm feeling quite confident about my prediction, them being the champions this season. And yeah, Liepaja, yeah, not that they're necessarily bad, but just hard to put up a fight against such a team as Riga if they play like this.
Especially if you don't have any central defenders on duty.
Yeah,
because Lazarus, the keeper, he kept saving one after the other, just dragging these shots right off the goal line over and over and over again. But then Riga kept scoring off rebound. The Regja goal, header pretty much point blank, saved, but then Regja finished it off a rebound. Same with Dabro.
Yeah.
I think there was either a save or he hit the post or something.
The post, yeah.
And then off a rebound, and just over and over and over again. I really felt bad for the guy. It's like he's just standing there and being in front of a firing squad of Riga players, and there's no one there to help him.
Yeah, he did.
But other than that, Liepa looked good. They did look good. They didn't look good enough to challenge Riga, and probably not good enough to challenge Valmiera from what we've seen, and we'll talk about a bit later. But they didn't look incompetent or anything like that. I think they just need a little bit more time to get the team working together. It's a very young team. They're all new, pretty much. So Riga just, they were mean and lean and fast, and if they play like that, it's a very good chance that they will take the championship and possibly even get into the group stage in the Conference League. They almost did before. Maybe this year will be the difference.
Hopefully, of course, it's going to be hard for them because they're not starting from the Champions League, but from the Conference League, which is obviously much harder to do. But yeah, hopefully. And also, it seems that I feel a bit sorry for Krišjāns Ziedris, the usual number one goalkeeper of Liepaja, who's currently injured, because when he does eventually come back, it's going to be hard to replace Lazarus just because he's making so much good saves, but also because there's a lot of saving to do, which is, of course, the defender's fault. But yeah, he does look like one Liepaja player that's up to standards. But it's, of course, again, it's easier for him. But yeah, just a very solid Riga win. Looking confident, much more confident than they did against Jelgava, for example. But yeah, will also be interesting to see Liepaja moving on because they don't look terrible, so should be interesting.
Yeah, not really a surprise in terms of the result. We both predicted a 2-0 win for Riga. They exceeded our expectations a little bit, but I think what is surprising is the way they did it, which is a very lovely and good surprise indeed.
Yeah, and also considering that it was the first home game for Liepaja, that may be the one factor that makes it a bit weird that Riga won so confidently with 3-0. But again, if they play like this, it doesn't matter where they play or against who they play, they're going to be looking good. Yeah, I guess that's the game, Riga against Liepaja, and then the next one, Jelgava against RFS.
Yeah, this was a confident-ish RFS win, 2-0, 1-0 at halftime. In terms of formation changes, quite a few. So in Jelgava, a different keeper, a debut for this keeper, Bita, but also Shityakovs, Grauds, Maschenko are out. And in their place, Chevers, Valmiers, and Osoag was starting. And for RFS, Steinbors, Marhiev, Jata, and Ilic, interestingly, are out. And starting in their place, Nerogals, Uzela, Claudio, and Leo Gausha. As far as I understand, Steinbors and Zuzins are not fit after the national team break to start. It was a very intensive 2 games against Ireland and Wales, which we discussed in the previous episode. Don't know what's up with Jata. He was also on national duty, as was Marhiev with the Finnish U21. But Ilic is a tactical change, which we also talked about last episode on the Virsliga. And Victor Smoras did say that, well, he maybe finally does see that Ilic is struggling to either make himself available or convert chances or what. And this is the first time in forever that I see a different tactical lineup in terms of attackers. So we have Claudio starting and Gausho in something akin to a 4-4-2 formation. Not that it made a difference. They had to wait until the end of the first half for a central defender to score a goal off of an indirect free kick. And then Ilic was subbed in for the second half, and he did score a decent goal in the 71st minute. Jelgava, well, they were just having a terrible time. Obviously, a huge underdog in this kind of a game. I think some wear and tear is becoming apparent. That players seem to be getting tired. Something similar happened to Tukums at the start of last season, where I remember their coach Dischler's talking about how they just weren't prepared for the physical demands of playing in Virsliga. Not sure whether that's really the case, as it is only the 3rd game and we did just have a national team break. But maybe emotionally it's becoming a little bit difficult. And I can see, especially towards the end of the second half, that they were really struggling. Not all of them, but certain players, for sure. RFS still looking slow, still looking old, still kind of trying to just win by virtue of their weight. Saverneks unfortunately picked up an injury in the second half, was subbed out on 69th minute. Ikonex looks better, but still not really where we expect him to be. And I don't really have a lot of good things to say about what RFS is showing at the moment, which is unfortunate.
Overall, I don't think I can really agree with you about the somewhat confident win. I think Jelgava actually, again, surprisingly, did put up a fight. They had considerably fair amount of chances. They could have scored. They probably should have scored as well. I think it was already 2-0 at that point, but Oskar Schruben is almost pretty much had an open goal. In the end, I think it was Savelniks, I think, or someone who pretty much cleared it off the line. I'm not sure. Jelgava.
So Sorokins.
Sorokins.
Your favorite player, Sorokins, did it.
Yeah. Of course, RFS did look better, managed to score. An interesting tactical decision, about Ilic, benching him, and he came on and scored, which is pretty much probably exactly what Victor Smoras wanted from this tactical change. Scored a decent goal as well. Godinskis also scored, but I guess that's a bit of a lucky one. But RFS still not really looking the way we probably want them to look. They definitely can do better, considering the players they had. Also, a lot of kind of silly mistakes in their own half, which led to some Jelgava moments. I think Jelgava were unfortunate not to score a goal. As I said, they had some chances. Didn't look that bad. It's nice to see that Jelgava, first year in Virsliga, young players, but not only in terms of football, but also I think also sort of emotionally they managed to put up these fights. They don't look too scared of the big teams. The young players are not scared to sort of square up to the bigger names in other teams, and it's very nice to see their sort of spirit. And I've said my praises about Jelgava, but they seem to I don't think it's a disappointing loss, but they also could have got a better result out of it. I think Jelgava, and yeah, RFS still managing something, lacking something in the attack. They did had the chances, some nice link up from Emerson and Gaushaw, but I'm just not sure what is it that they're lacking.
I think they're lacking fire, which is something that Jelgava is not lacking. So Jelgava, I think that's why it's enjoyable to see them, that they have so much soul, and it's so easy to root for them as this very sympathetic underdog, because they show up to each game and they fight their hearts out, and it's really good to see. And RFS is pretty much the opposite. They have loads of quality, which Jelgava is lacking to this extent, and they have lots of experience, and they have trophies, but they just don't really seem to care all that much. And why I said it's a confident win, it's not confident in the sense that it was a dominant win, but it seemed like RFS came out and they weren't, it almost felt like it's a friendly game to me watching it, that they were really chill about things, like that link up between Gaushaw and Emerson that you mentioned. In a game on a European level, you just don't make such dodgy decisions like the Emerson did there. It's this either lack of concentration or lack of commitment or something like that. It's really holding RFS back.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that it did seem a bit like I don't think that they underrated Jelgava, because I don't think Maurus is a coach who underrates teams, but also considering the squad, I don't believe, for example, Steinbosch, the goalkeeper, wasn't fit to play. For goalkeepers, it's much easier to recover. So considering that they put the other goalkeeper in, and they're not a team that often changes goalkeepers. If they have one, Steinbosch, they always play him. So yeah, putting in Nergals and Uzela, who also usually doesn't start, and Gaushaw, seems a bit like they're sort of playing like a friendly, as you said, just because of the squad changes. But well, they did manage to get a win. But yeah, for now it seems that my preseason predictions, or maybe I said that after the first game, that RFS is just maybe stagnating a bit. The fact that they have a lot of players for many years now, coach as well, and maybe that is why they're lacking the fire. For me, it at least seems that way. That they've just gotten too comfortable, maybe, and not really, I don't know, maybe feeling the need to push more, which they definitely can do. Well, again, similar to League and the quality of the players, with that sort of quality, they have to do better. Riga is doing that, RFS still lacking. And of course, considering the European stage, we want them to do better. So yeah, that's why it's a bit frustrating seeing that. But still, they did get a win. And what more can you really say?
You guessed the result exactly correct. Your guess was 2-0, mine was 3-0. But either way, a dry win. And this is what we saw. Next game was Tukums versus Metta. That was one of two games played earlier today. We are recording this on Sunday evening. And this was a weird one for me to see. So Metta won 2-1. Tukums continues to look really bad still. They're really struggling. Tukums lined up 4-4-2. Metta something like 4-3-3. But it was a really windy day. Maybe that's something that should be mentioned. Today is an extremely windy day. It's actually lovely weather. It's sunny. It's kind of coldish, but you can see that spring is coming. But the winds were really, really strong. At one point, when someone was taking a corner, the corner flag was at like 45 degrees just from wind alone, with no external help. So it was really windy, and that is something to mention. But the game was extremely scrappy, I think. It sort of reminded me, and this is not to kind of disrespect any of the players, obviously that's not the case. They're professionals, they're young, but They're professional, very skillful players playing in Virsliga, but it kind of reminded me of those games where kids play in the backyards, where they just kind of run and a bunch of different kids kick the ball at the same time at each other with no sense of direction or tactic or anything like that. And this is sort of what I saw on the field more often than not, that it's just very poor possession, lots of technical mistakes, maybe down to wind. So, that's a disclaimer that's been made. But just very kind of a kick the ball in any direction and see what happens kind of a game.
Yeah, well, first of all, the wind definitely was an important factor in this game. And the other point is that it was very obvious that this game was played by two bottom 5 teams. Probably 2 teams that will really fight for staying up. And it was obvious because it was very scrappy. But at the same time, also quite entertaining because both teams had chances. It was a similar game in that way. Both teams could have won, could have scored more. I think, some weird moments as well. For example, Metta goalkeeper Bex sort of just catching the ball, but then letting it slip out of his hands somehow, which is not really typical of him. So that was a bit interesting. Also, the goals scored. I think Metta scored 2 very decent goals. Tukums not that beautiful of goal, but still a good goal. And something is lacking for Tukums. This game could have gone either way, I think, but I think we expect more from Tukums than we saw today, than we expect from Metta from what they showed today. So seems that something's just not really clicking for Tukums. They won the first game against Daugavpils, but then Daugavpils was just not good. But now we see the, I guess, true colors, and I can sort of see that something's not going right for Tukums currently, and Metta just getting a good win.
Yeah, if Tukums play Daugavpils today, I don't see Tukums winning by any stretch of the imagination. No, I think what they're lacking is players. Really, they lost lots of key players to bigger teams, which is good for those guys, but certainly doesn't help Tukums. And watching the press conference today, Dischler's Tukums coach, he just looked just very depressed, heartbroken, which is understandable. But I mean, if that's reflective or indicative of team spirit, then Tukums has some very painful times ahead of them for sure.
But perhaps the reason for that could be that maybe they should be doing better because, from what I've heard, some little inside info, that there are some players in Tukums that are very good in training, like really showing themselves, but then when the game comes, something is lacking. So I guess they're expecting better things, and I don't know what's wrong in the games, but apparently overall the players, the team is good, the vibes are good, just something wrong when it comes to the games.
So they just get nervous on the big stage,
I guess, yeah. So have to do something about it, and if that comes, I think Tukums will also look all right. I wouldn't say that this was a deserved loss, but I guess overall, Metta just managed to carry out their game plan better, and that resulted in a win. Nice goals as well. First one, Reitis. I'm actually quite surprised that he scored. Quite the angle to shoot from. A very narrow one. Also, he did like a Zidane turn, I think, in the box, and then scored in the far corner. A very nice goal.
Yeah, bounced off the post.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, but 2 minutes later, Tukums equalize, and then in the end, Ruhadze, the Georgian player in Metta, also scoring from a bit of a distance, far corner as well. Nice goal, and they got the win.
Interesting fact that both Reitis and Ruhadze were subbed in later in the game, so I guess that's some credit to the coach. Reitis came on 63rd minute, Ruhadze for second half, and then Reitis scored 7 minutes after coming on the field, and Ruhadze sealed the victory in 85th minute. So really not a lot of time left, but they did it. They have 3 points, which are very important for them. and we see how they, where they go from here.
Yeah. Also, I think Reitis, the first goal scorer, looking very decent this season. So expecting to see more of him. And also the Metta coach, Andres Richard, said after the game that the plan really was to just try and shoot more from distance because of the wind. And as I said, they just managed to carry out their game plan better, listen to the coach. And yeah, a good victory for the team. But I think the Metta's coach, Andres Richard, can also pat himself on the shoulder after this game because they just did the right things and got the win.
I really liked Reitis already last season. He was a bit greener. Obviously a young guy, but I really enjoyed already watching him last season do things. I think he had a couple of long range goals as well, or certainly attempts. And the interesting fact that so he plays for Latvian U21 together with a few other players from Metta. But in this international break, the Latvian U21 played North Macedonia U21, winning 3-0, and all 3 goals were by Metta players. 1 by Puzarevskis and then 2 by Reitis. So he might be on a roll.
Yeah, and also Metta's academy on a roll as well, producing the youngsters, scoring goals. Definitely a good period for them.
Yeah, so in terms of our predictions, you thought that Metta is going to win, which they did. You thought it's going to be 1-0. They did 2-1. I thought it's going to be a 1-1 draw, which wasn't the case, but I did get the Tukums goal right.
Yeah, both predictions sort of almost right. It could have gone either way. If we sum it, then it's exactly correct.
Yeah, that's true. And then the final game of the round, which was just a few hours ago, Auda versus Valmiera, the first real test for Auda. We talked about it in the previous Virsliga episode, that Auda has been winning, but they haven't really been challenged yet, and this was their first serious challenge.
Yeah, so went to the game, went to the stadium. You already mentioned that it is a very nice day today, and it really is. It's sunny, of course, with the wind. It is a bit cold, but when the wind is not active, then it's very nice to sit there, to enjoy the sun, the football, grab a beer, whatever. And an interesting game. I would say a bit surprising. I was already surprised when I came to the stadium and saw yellow kits and thought, why is Supernova playing again? But no, it's Valmiera's new kits. Interesting choice, but I think they look nice. And what looked even nicer was their football, their game. A very confident win, 4-0. At the start, both teams looked quite all right, decent. It was quite a level game, but at some point, Valmiera just sort of put it in the next gear and went away and confidently won. I can just looked very good. Finally, I think we have to start really believing in your discounts because he himself said that the first 2 games of the season is just still preseason for them. After the international break, that's when they're ready for the season. And they do look very ready. Finally getting the goal. Finally, Jibril Gay scoring, which he sometimes just seemed to not managing to do it, but sometimes just looks like he doesn't want to do it. But yeah, finally got the goals.
He didn't score from literally a meter in front of empty net in the same game, so
that is true as well.
There is that.
But still managed 2 goals. Was also quite surprised by the Valmiera squad, especially seeing Ingvars Pūlis in the starting 11, and even he got a goal, and a very nice goal as well. Got 1-on-1, well, almost 1-on-1. There was sort of the Auda defender breathing down his neck, but managed to get in front of him. Nicely slotted the ball in the corner. A very good win for Valmiera. Players are looking good, the foreign players as well, and even the players they involved from this substitution bench. For example, Volkov's a young guy from Liepaja, also looked quite decent, got an assist. And Auda, I wouldn't say they were looking bad, but just something wasn't right for them this game. And 4-0. I mean, it says a lot.
Maybe angle from the TV camera was a little bit different from being in the stadium, which I mean, obviously it is. But the moment the starting whistle went off and Valmiera started moving the ball around, I already had the feeling that something is gonna go very wrong for Auda, because they were not up to the challenge. Valmiera have well and truly kicked into gear. I don't know what they did during the international break, but yeah, as the head coach said, that first 2 games they consider to be preseason, and then they're gonna play. Well, I mean, first question, why? But okay, I guess that's how he wants to roll. But it's just, if this is the difference, then why are you sitting on it for the first 2 games and just getting a point out of a really, really snowy draw against RFS? Like, why are you sitting on all this, I don't know what, nitro fuel that was just fully released into the squad today? This is the Valmiera that we saw last season. They're fast, they're somehow everywhere at once, especially pressing the opposition defense. This numerical superiority for an attacking team in the defending team's box it's very bizarre to see. But with Valmiera, it's just those weird yellow shirts popping up everywhere all the time, running, being super aggressive, very fast, actually finding passes, combinatorial play, just always attacking, always opening. Also had a couple of shaky moments in the beginning, as he did in previous games, but clean sheet, 4 goals scored, 2 in each half, 2 for Gay, 1 for Pulis and 1 for Ribeiro at the very, very end in 93rd minute. But Auda just, they were putting up some resistance in the beginning, and they were trying to outplay the pressing with limited degree of success from where I was sitting. They tried to play their game, but in the end it just was not good enough. I think it's as simple as that. They just were not good enough to oppose Valmiera, and then they got a red card. Well, second yellow for Achol, down to 10 men in 72nd minute. They, as the coach said, that's when the game was over. They were down 2-0 by that point, but then conceded 2 more.
Yeah, the red card definitely erased any chances of trying to get a draw out of it. That was also a bit of a weird moment when Achal got his second card, because there was this sort of moment between him and Karmani, the Valmiera player. In a game situation, he pushed him over, and then Karmani got angry, got up, and started going towards Achal, trying to square up. And Achal sort of only bumped him with his chest, but Karmani so dramatically fell and then started grabbing his face in pain. And I thought that was a bit of embarrassing from him, because he definitely overreacted and sort of dived as well. And he definitely didn't get hit in the face or anything. So that was a bit of a weird one. Of course, it is a yellow, but I think a bit unfortunate for Achol to get sent off there. But again, considering the rules, it makes sense. And the game was truly done at that point. But even then, it didn't look like at any point Auda was really going to score. Maybe 1, but definitely not 2. Just as you said, Valmiera was everywhere. It seemed like, and all the players were good. I think especially Varslavans is really looking good this season, and definitely can do even more. And also, Gay was looking quite good today as well. And everyone was just doing their jobs, being solid, not really making any mistakes. Well, there were some shaky moments from center backs towards the end. For example, Roberts Waves. I think he didn't really. There was a moment where he and Jalisco didn't decide who's getting the ball, and then Auda almost went on a 1-on-1. But still didn't manage to really get anything out of it. And again, can't say Auda looked bad. It's just, they played the same style of football that they played the first 2 games, which is good. But I guess for a Valmiera in full power and in their full mode, I guess it's not good enough. And now we also see almost, I'd say, true colors of Auda, because maybe this was a bit of a push from Almere, and can't say that they'll be like this every game, but yeah, we can see that perhaps Auda is not really a title contender after all.
It's similar to last year, I think. I mean, Valmiera is exactly in the same spot this year as they were last year, 4 points after 3 games. Auda last year, they finished 5th, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't really get many wins against the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
So they kind of collected points from the bottom. And, well, it's too soon to tell, obviously. It's 3 games in, but kind of the patterns seem to be more familiar than not at this point.
I guess that's also a good point. Yeah. They did start decent last season as well. Well, yeah. It will be interesting to see, because I think they can do better, and also their quality of players is as good as well. I think they're quite unfortunate. For example, I'm not sure whether Olimbashovs was injured, maybe just wasn't playing that good the game, but yeah, they put on Rezenda, who looked very good, but then he got an injury just 16 minutes in, and that's unfortunate because he did sort of look to refresh the attack for Auda. They unfortunately picked up an injury and also had to be subbed off. So I guess considering that and the red card as well, maybe a bit unfortunate for Auda. Maybe 4-0 is too harsh of a result, but at the same time, nothing to take away from Almere. Very good goals. Well, the first one was scrappy, well, very typical of Gay, Jibril Gay, for him to score that type of goal. Also, he really went off with his celebrations today. Did his crawling thingy. Not sure where it's from, but looks quite epic on camera. A bit intimidating as well.
I think Balodis then decided to ride him.
Yeah, that was.
And it went from intimidating to just a guy riding a horse.
Yeah, that was
became funny.
That was a bit of an interesting one, but well, fully understandable celebrations. And then the second goal was really surprising for me because, as I said, didn't expect to see Poulis in the starting 11. But not only he was all right, he even scored a decent goal, which really sort of blew me away. It was just really not expecting that from him. So I don't know if he ever hears this. Sorry that I had low expectations, but yeah, looked all right. And also, it's nice to see something similar to last year's Valmiera, that sometimes if you put in some players who aren't playing a lot, and as a neutral fan that you wouldn't really expect to be playing good, still doing good in the squad, which is, I think, something Jurgis Kans, the coach, is good at. And yeah, if they can keep that up, then there's larger squad rotation for them, and could be very good for the season, considering that there will be these periods where the games are played more often. And yeah, also a sort of a good factor for Valmiera.
Definitely. I agree about Varslavans. Pleasure to see him opening up and playing closer to what we think is his potential. And another noteworthy player is also still in goal for Auda, but I think we got a little bit of an insight for why Auda is not playing, and it seems that he's just physically not fit enough yet. Ozos, on the other hand, is in shape and certainly more used to the weather, as is now. It's still kind of cold, so it seems that there's also that as a factor for why Auda hasn't drawn on the resources and talents of their star keeper from last season yet. In terms of predictions, we got this one utterly wrong. I got it wronger than you. You predicted a 1-1 draw. I predicted a 2-1 win for Auda. So nothing of the sort occurred here either. We didn't get another ranting conference from Jurgis Kans. I mean, he did talk about green and red tomatoes and how players are like that, but that was different. That was fine.
Maybe one thing about Valmiera, sometimes I think still the center back duo does look a bit shaky at some points. So I hope they sort of build their confidence more.
Balodis, you mean?
Balodis and Vapes, yeah, together. And just if you like, again, from a neutral standpoint, if you hear those two names and someone says to you, this is the main center back partnership of the Latvian champions, I wouldn't believe them. But then again, last season, Balvadas played with Jakuba, and it was fine. And I think Vapes, of course, also good players, so we'll be fine for them.
Balvadas didn't look good in the national team in the friendly against Ireland either, so much so that he was subbed off in favor of Martis Osh and never reappeared. So yeah, I agree. He's a little bit out of tune at the moment.
Yeah, but then again, it was fine last season. Probably will be fine this season. There's still a lot of games to play, much more confidence building, and I think they will be fine. And if this really is the true Valmiera this season, then yeah, your discounts is again gonna prove a lot of people wrong. And yeah, excited to see.
I would love to see today's Valmiera play against. This round's Valmiera play against this round's Riga.
Yes, exactly. That's going to be the big one, the big game.
Very, very high quality teams, both of them, but playing different kind of football. Valmiera more playing between the lines, more pressing. Riga, on the other hand, very good at escaping pressing, and just kind of seems like higher individual mastery of players. So that's it. That's the 5 games.
Yeah.
All games happened. Most games were really good. A couple were scrappy, and they were what they were. But overall, I think we're happy. It's good times. Weather is improving. Everyone's still playing on synthetic pitches, which is common for Latvia at this time of year. I think only around May, teams who have natural pitches start migrating there. People are playing football. Players are getting in shape. Players are fighting against each other and against the weather. It's all as it should be. It's good times.
Yeah, and also I want to quickly mention your discounts as always being so active on the sideline. Very entertaining to see. Very vocal towards reps as well.
Your discounts you think is entertaining. Have you seen Stipic? He was at one point doing jumping jacks.
Of course. That's true, but yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the goal of the round this time?
This round it's a tough one because there wasn't really one like an outstanding one.
There were many more goals than in previous rounds, but
yeah, bigger sample, harder to choose. I see your 2 choices, Jojic and Rukadze, and then they were one of the better goals. But I also would like to mention Ingars Poulis, I think, but maybe that's a bit of a bias because I just didn't expect that from him. But yeah, I think that was a good run that he made and how he scored. Also, I think the other Metta goal, Kristofers Reķis, just was also aesthetically pleasing that he did this turn and then straight up far corner. I thought it was better than Rukadze's goal. I don't know, but Jojic was just. I would be maybe inclined to go for Jojic because it was just overall good goal. Very good pass to him for Latvian standards. A world-class touch, a little shimmy, good finish. It just looked like a proper goal that you would see in better leagues than in Latvian Virsliga. So it just looked very good and performed by such a player. And maybe I would be fine to give it to Jojic.
Let's go for Jojic then. The pass from Jurkovskis, I mean, for me, that's like at least 60% of the beauty of this goal. Obviously, Liepaja helped, but essentially you have a pass coming in from almost halfway up the field, about a 45-degree angle, right into the middle, where Jojic receives it and just slots it into the right corner of the goal. Beautiful, calm, skill throughout, both from Jurkovskis and from Jojic. Very collected, very professional. There's something very meditative about that goal. I think, as you said, yeah, it's goals that you see in places like Bundesliga and the Premier League in England. Not so much in Latvia, where there's usually a couple of extra touches that need to be done, that players like to do because there's more space and the game is slower. But this was just really nice to see. Very kind of laser focused.
Agreed.
All right, then this is the first goal of the round that goes to a player who is not from FS Jelgava. And if you want to see what that looks like, just hit us up on Twitter. We'll post a video, or watch the highlights, which are available on YouTube. from every game on the Virsliga account. Next round is already in a few days. So this is going to be a midweek one due to the Easter holidays. And what we're looking at is essentially 2 games on April the 5th, 2 games the next day, April the 6th, and then final game April the 7th. It's going to be kicked off by Jelgava hosting Supernova. How do you think that will go?
That's going to be a...
You can't tell anymore, right?
Yeah, the first instinct is I would like to say that finally Jelgava getting sort of a better game again. Easier game. So I wanted to go with them. But then I started thinking about Supernova's trend, and it was bad game, good game, bad game. And considering that they do have a potentially good team, this should be the good game. So maybe a draw, but I still have this sort of emotional belief and confidence in Jelgava. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for Jelgava.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard because Supernova at this point is just oscillating like crazy. They go from game to game being really good and really not good. And there doesn't seem to be any common denominator that we can see that could account for that, which makes it highly unpredictable. But I agree with you. I think Jelgava is going to pull this one out 2-1. Maybe they'll be trailing, maybe they'll score first and then there'll be a draw for a while. But I think they're gonna get the 3 points with minimal difference in this one.
Okay, then the next one, RFS against Liepāja.
Yeah, same day, later that evening. RFS first home game this season, hosting Liepāja. What do you think?
Tough for me because I didn't manage to fully see the Riga Liepāja game, so can't really tell about Liepāja. And also playing against Riga on such good form, it's just hard to tell. Because I think they could do all right against RFS, but then on the other hand, I think RFS still have been lacking, and the proper answer to that should be a better game next time. So it's a tough one. I'll go with a draw. Feeling a bit bold, but I think Liepāja should do better and could do better, so I'll go with a draw, and let's say 1-1.
I can't decide between something like a 3-2 in favor of RFS or 1-0. I think it will really depend on what mood RFS decides to be in for this game, whether they will take it seriously and play as well as they can, or if it's going to be another one of what we've seen thus far. And that will very much determine how lax their defensive efforts will be. Usually RFS is very defensively solid. We talked about probably the best pair of central defenders in Virsliga, Lipuščak and Jagodinskis. And of all the players thus far, it's pretty much them and Emerson who are actually trying, and Savarnieks, hopefully not injured too much. Yeah. So hard to tell. I'm going to go for 1-0 RFS win. I think they will defend, but attacking efforts are still kind of mediocre. So it's probably going to be a scrappy goal or a set piece or just some header someplace, or maybe a solo run by Emerson.
Yeah. You mentioned the dependency on the mood of RFS on the day. And I was thinking, considering that, I wouldn't also be surprised if it's like a 5-0 win for RFS as well. I wouldn't be too surprised because I think that's what they need.
I would be surprised because I don't see enough attacking potential. Or rather, there is this latent potential because they have these high quality players, but in terms of putting together attacking play is just not really that evident yet. So unless Liepāja just completely falls apart, which I don't think they will, then I don't really see many goals in this game. But then again, last season, around this time, RFS versus Liepāja was like 3-2, highly emotional, super fun to watch game with Ilic scoring a ridiculous header against the laws of physics to win the game, and you just never know. So we'll see. Draw for you, 1-0 in favor of RFS for me. But also difficult to call, which is not something that we can say for the next bout. Valmiera hosting Tukums. at home in Valmiera.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for Tukums because, as I said, I think they can do better. And after these sorts of games, what they needed was a game against like Daugavpils or Supernova or Metta where they can actually win. But I don't see them putting up a fight against Valmiera. Well, at least seeing Valmiera today. So yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on who says the bigger number here. I will go with that. Maybe not as confident as this one, although Tukums, of course, not as good as Auda. But I will go with that 3-3-3-1. I think Tukums will manage to score. I will go with a 3-1 Valmiera win.
In this imaginary goal for Tukums that you have, is it a mistake by Olses or is it all theirs?
I was thinking actually a bit of a miscommunication between the center backs.
All right.
That was also one thing today that you discounts after I think I already mentioned the little sort of mistake from Vapes, and your discounts was very vocal. Like even in the stands across the pitch, you could hear that he was saying, "Come on, you have to be concentrated for the full." And I think he said 97 minutes for some reason. But yeah, he was very angry with that lack of concentration towards the end of the game. So maybe a little mistake. Another like 4 or 5-0 win for Valmiera would be just madness, I think. But possible as well, but I'll go with the 3-1.
I initially thought 3-0, but since you already claimed the 3 goals for Valmiera, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and just go with 5-0.
Oh, wow.
Tukums is struggling. Last year, when Tukums were struggling, they conceded 10 to RFS.
True. That is a good point.
So nothing's out of the realm of possibility. I don't think that's going to be the case like that, and maybe they'll just park the bus and try to play for draw, which I mean realistically is the best they could hope for in this situation. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 5-0 resounding victory for Valmiera.
Yeah, still on the hype from today's game. I think I even believe in your prediction more than mine. But yeah, I thought I had to be a bit more rational on mine, so that's why I didn't go for such a big win. But it's very well possible if Valmiera play like today, then it's a very tough day for in the office for Tukums.
And they also play at home, and it's in 4 days.
Oh, true.
So.
Oh well, then sorry, Tukums. Yeah.
And it's a long drive for Tukums. It's basically across the country. How long is it from Tukums to Valmiera? It's like I don't know, maybe 4-hour drive. And you probably need to leave earlier than you would need otherwise, because you don't want to get stuck in traffic in Riga, which is right in the middle.
True. Tough for Tukums.
The next one is going to be Riga versus Auda. So is it going to be a competitive game, or is it going to be Team A versus Team B, given that Auda is sort of like a farm club? Well, not really a farm club.
Well, kind of, yeah. Well,
but like a B team for Riga.
Yeah, it's the big Riga FC derby.
Can many of those players even play who are currently in the Auda lineup?
Well, that's always a tough. Even last season, even in the end of the season, I was still not sure exactly how many players are officially on loan, how many are actually like registered, signed as Auda players. You never know. But I think like this season, you can only loan 3 players out, so not that big of a loss. I think it will be. Well, even last season against Riga, Auda to sort of bench many players who couldn't play because they're sort of Riga players, and even then the matches were competitive. Riga always won, but it was never like a 4-0. And now I think they have more sort of flexibility in terms of the squad, and it should be more level in that sense. But then again, seeing how they played today and how Riga played this round, it's hard to tell. I think they will put up a fight just because it is against Riga, but should be a Riga victory. I'll go with a 2-0.
I think we may see Ondoa, because I think Ondoa is, even though he was technically on loan from Riga last season, I think he is now properly signed to Auda.
Yes, but this was also loaned.
Ozols, I think, was loaned. I don't remember, but I sense that Ozols might be on loan, so then he wouldn't be able to play, so we'll probably see Ondoa in goal. What about Bergqvist? Is he on loan?
That's the thing, I really don't know.
I think he might be on loan as well.
Yes, but then there's the other players as well. It's hard to tell. And even last season, Ondoa I guess, was on loan, so he couldn't play. And then there was a youngster in Auda's goal who has never played in Virsliga. But this season, okay, was also going to play, but then Auda does go and go, so it's not really like a huge advantage for Riga in that sense.
Well, no, but if it's not Ozils, who has thus far played every game, and if, say, Bergqvist, the central defender, also can't play,
that's true. Yeah.
Then you're losing a informed keeper and one of the starting CDs. Then that's a significant hit right there. And then someone else, I don't know, or probably some striker or attacking midfielder or someone else. We'll see. We'll see what Simo Valakari comes up with. He's a highly competent coach, so it's not going to be a walkover. Fun fact, actually, about him. The other day I walked out of the office and I see him strolling just down the street across the road from me. I was like, huh? Is that really him? It's like, yeah, just going on his business in a tracksuit somewhere in the direction of Skonto Stadium. It's fun to see. And then I remember that it's actually not uncommon to see Auda players in Central Riga. And last year, just after Auda won the cup, I bumped into Fabrice Ondoa near a bus stop, of all places. One of these days, maybe I'll say hi as well.
Hopefully. So your prediction is?
My prediction is 3-0. Yeah, so either way, a confident Riga win.
Should be.
I think so. If it's anything even remotely similar to what we saw this round, and then what we saw Auda do against a similarly strong team, Valmiera, I think Riga is gonna open them up more than once.
And the last game, Metta against Daugavpils. Probably the hardest to predict. Well, up there with the Supernova, I guess, but I think this is even harder. Both teams currently, basing down just one match, but on a good form, looking like they're starting to actually play, period. So, tough one to predict, but I think I will hard, because Metta always loses against Daugavpils, famously. It's the big ongoing battle between the two teams. I think I'm gonna go with history and say Daugavpils is gonna take this one. I'll go with a 2-1 for Daugavpils.
I have the exact same sense as well, that it's not going to be an easy game for either team, but Daugavpils is seems to be on the ascent, and I think they'll take this one. Similar to our prediction on Jelgava versus Supernova, maybe it will come down to the wire at the end, maybe not. Maybe it will be a 2-0 and then Metta pulls one back. But I think Daugavpils will take this one, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't made like a random goal scorer prediction this time. So I'll go with an obvious one. Lizinus to score for Daugavpils.
And not necessarily?
Not sure. Now I'll go with Lizinus. I want to get this right, actually, this time. But watch him not score now.
I hope he will. He's just really good to see. He is scoring loads, but he's very kind of calm about the way he does it. It's kind of also medium-large fella. It's just, he's an RFS player on loan for a second year running to Daugavpils, which is where he originally is from. And, last year, okay, that makes sense. That, they just got him. He's a young guy. Maybe he still needs to finish school or whatever, so can't really ship him out to Riga. But I was surprised that they, again, repeated the same arrangement, and he stayed in Daugavpils, despite doing preseason with RFS. And I just hope that maybe next year we'll finally see him playing for RFS properly. But I suppose that might depend on what happens to Illich, because conceivably they kind of are similar style and position players.
Yeah. RFS do have attackers, Gausho as well, so I guess if he needs playing time, it makes sense, but I'm not sure why he couldn't compete with Illich for the spot. He seems good this season. And also in the international break, the under-19 Latvian team was also playing, I think, qualified Euro I guess, Euro qualifiers, and he was playing as well. And I think overall the team didn't do too well, but I think I read on Twitter that, well, even like the other nations fans said that the only player who does it actually look good and like he's willing and trying is Lizen also, getting his praise in the national, under 19 national team as well. So definitely more to see of him, from him, and hope he really gets his breakthrough.
I think he's definitely stronger than Gausha, the Brazilian for RFS, who last year similarly was on loan just to Spartaks. But he just seems to not be able to score for RFS, even in preseason friendlies, even in front of an empty goal. He somehow just doesn't find the net. So hard to tell how long he'll stay, if he'll stay at all, if he's there to keep Emerson company or what. But I was kind of excited when he arrived in that batch of, I think it was summer transfers. But so far just don't really see the value. I mean, I guess he passes well.
Yeah.
Maybe he should be a midfielder rather than a forward, but so far kind of not impressed.
But then again, overall, RFS not being too impressive.
Yeah, but if you're unimpressive in an already unimpressive squad, then that's just not good, right?